Are live. Good morning, everybody. We are live on Realtors Winning, and I am thrilled, CJ and I are both thrilled, to have Daniel Chilton from Keller Williams in Colorado Springs with us. Finally, so many people that have said, when are you going to put Daniel on? And we are so thrilled that he woke up early, put on his jacket, and he's ready to share a lot with us. So welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Good morning.
So I'm just going to introduce you just quickly because we did meet, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and I've watched you just explode to the top. So I know you started as an agent on a team and then geographically moved and started your own business. And CJ is also very excited to hear your story. So let's just jump right in and let's ask you, who is Daniel Chilton?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm originally from North Carolina. I started real estate in 2014. Previously, before that, I was kind of in the restaurant world, so the hospitality industry. Did that for 14 years. I got burnt out, worked my tail off, and I never really got anywhere with it. And so I tried everything from being an X-ray tech to physical therapy. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. But I was, when I was 26, I was smart enough to buy my first home. And so my realtor, Mark Watson, who's out of the Ballantyne office with Keller Williams in Charlotte, he was looking for a buyer specialist. And, at the time I was in management, I had done everything from being a chef to a bartender and everything in between in a restaurant, done everything but own a restaurant. And so I was tired of getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was tired of not seeing my family on the weekends. And so Mark sent out a job description and said, hey, who do you know that might be interested in a career in real estate? And I, after reading the job description, I'm like, you know what, I'm doing this stuff already. But the pay said it was like 50 to 70K. And I was probably making about 30K a year in the restaurant business. So I'm like, this is a lot of money to me then. And so getting in, I met it with Mark and it sounded like a good fit. I went and got my real estate license. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but I got it. My first year, I closed 38 transactions, made over 6 figures. And we just ran a small little team, 2 agents and an admin, and we just crushed it, about 20 million a year for 2 people. So I loved Mark. He was awesome. He had been crushing it in real estate for a long time too, and he was kind of getting out. And I, at that time, was licensed in North and South Carolina because Charlotte's kind of right on the border of both states. So I've just always been in North Carolina. I'm from there. I wanted a change. And so I'm like, you know what? I can take what I do here in Charlotte and I can take it anywhere in the country I want to do. So I decided I wanted to pick Colorado because I like to ski. I like the mountains and I like the outdoors, and there's a lot of things to do outdoors here. So me understanding the team model, I didn't feel comfortable coming out here to be an individual agent. I'm definitely love teamwork and working with other people and having support. So I interviewed a couple teams and ended up running an expansion model here in Colorado Springs. So I not only moved out here trying to start my own business, but I'm running a team of 7 agents.
Wow, right. You did grow up, and all that in like 5 years, literally.
Yeah.
5 years, yeah. And I want to reiterate, you were like you're at the number 1 market center, Ballantyne or Charlotte, and weren't you the top producing agent on the team?
I was the number 1 buyer specialist.
Woohoo!
Yeah, back then. So, and there was, I think at that time, about 630 agents in the office. So yeah, I loved working in Charlotte, and I still hold a license there. People still call me for referrals and stuff like that, but I just hand it out to other agents because I can't go that far across the country.
That's a little too far.
Yeah. Depending on the price point, right? If it's
exactly. Yeah. If I need to activate my license, I can. So
yeah. This is awesome. You know what's so funny is my wife and I last night were literally talking about going to Colorado in November. And this is just a total side. Is Colorado a good place to go in November?
Colorado Springs is absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. My birthday was last week, and we drove up to Breckenridge, and the fall colors are out. It's just beautiful winter weather or fall weather. But we did get snow already this year. So we got snow last month.
Wow.
But
so yeah, that was total ADD. But okay, so you're running an expansion team. So I'm assuming it's a bigger team that you're running off of in Colorado Springs.
It was a team based out of Phoenix, and they were great guys. The problem is I've built a business in Charlotte where I grew my referral network, and I ran a pretty big referral network in Charlotte. And really one of the cool things is that, I came out here with no book of business, no sphere, nothing. I didn't have anything, but my agent referral base came with me.
Yeah.
So I busted my tail here for 6 months. I didn't have any business. I was lead generating from 8:30 in the morning, and I was leaving at 5:30 at night. I was the first one in and the last one out in the office every day, and nothing was happening. I was failing a lot. But it just, all my hard work after about 6 months finally paid off. I went from 0 transactions to about 17 pending deals in 6 months.
Wow.
At one time, which was pretty overwhelming.
In your first year being in a brand new city that you had never lived in before.
Yeah, the first 6 months.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. It turned out to be very good. That expansion team decided to leave Keller Williams though, and for me, throwing away the referral book that I had built up for years, I wasn't ready to just throw it away.
Yeah,
I'm actually friends with these people. Like, I talk to them. Like, Amanda's amazing. Like, they're just there to support you if you ever need it. Like, they're there to support you, and I'm there to support them. So I wasn't ready to throw that away. So I just decided to stay with Keller Williams, and I went to Mega Camp 2018. And I'm just listening to Gary Keller speak. I'm like, why am I not starting my own team? And so after Mega Camp, I got back, and in about 4 weeks, I went from just an individual agent to about a level 4 team.
Wow. And what I love hearing about this is, Keller Williams does the expansion model the best, right? They've taught us everything we know about expanding. And so you did it. I love that you went to a completely new area. And if anybody doesn't know, I know Daniel through referrals because he does do a lot of agent referrals. So that network is really, really important. And I love how you've leveraged it in your business.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are your top 3 kind of buckets of business? Like, where does your business come from?
So my top 3 are definitely agent referrals are number 1. Past client referrals are number 2. And then just the sphere. So I spend a lot of my time giving a high level of touches to my past clients, friends, and sphere versus making cold calls to random people. So I do, birthday cards, happy anniversary cards. I'm calling people. We're getting ready right now for our, we usually do a client appreciation event, but right now we decided not to do it because of COVID. So we're just going to be delivering pies. But just like,
I'm sorry, you're going to deliver what?
Pumpkin pies.
Pumpkin pies
for Thanksgiving. Yeah. So
the power of the pie.
It works. I mean, I closed, I think, 4 deals from past client referrals this year just from doing my client appreciation event. So for me, it's well worth it.
And shifting them, like the face on face, you and I know that's where your sphere and your repeat clients, they just love to see you, and then they think about real estate more because they're talking to you. Mm-hmm. But this year we've had to make the experience as impactful in a virtual manner. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to throw in that we're doing a drive-by pie day. So we're going to do it on the fly with pick up your pie. It's going to be really cool.
We'll probably do that too for some clients, but some people too. I feel like it's a personal touch for me to actually just stop in up by their house, knock on their door with my mask on, and say hello. So,
I have a couple questions for you. This is awesome, and I'm loving what you're doing. So, I want to go back. So you're in a city, you didn't know anybody. How long have you been in Colorado Springs now?
Since the end of 2017.
Okay, so 3-4 years or so.
We have the hottest zip code in the country right now.
2.5 years.
So you've only been there a few years, and now your number one source of business is agent referrals. How do you do that?
So I'm sure what lead generating is, CJ. So I typically have a few days of lead generation that I do certain things, and one of my days is actually agent lead generation. So I've met, like, even, I'm about 45 minutes away from Denver, but it's a little too far for me to kind of sell most of the time, but I have so many connections there.
What do you mean connections? Like what does that mean?
Other agents that will refer me business because they don't want to come into my market and I don't want to go into their market.
Smart.
And
And I would say Daniel's one of the people that you see him out and about a lot. I think you do a really good job too of posting on social media and kind of really making people feel engaged. And I've noticed too that you do a lot of like supporting and looking for those clients, looking for the agent referrals. You're very active, and that's a good thing. We see your face and your name a lot, which is, it makes you think of Colorado Springs, Daniel Chilton.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I remember when I was a new agent and I had Facebook pulled up on my computer, and somebody came in and they said, "Get off Facebook, you need to be lead generating." And I said, "I am lead generating. This is what I'm doing. I'm just doing something different."
Yeah, love that. So something that really, I just put a star down next to my notes here. It says you do agent lead generation. I'm assuming that's like for your agent referrals that you do. Tell me about that. What does that look like for you on a daily or weekly basis?
So I keep a map in spreadsheet of agents in almost every major city across the country. So areas that are going to have a high volume of people moving there are typically going to be the connections you want to have. Like, for instance, Dallas, Texas. I have a girl there that I met through one of our Facebook pages a long time ago. And we've since together done about 3 transactions. We call each other to support each other. Sometimes we'll just text each other and say hello. So for me, just like, and then I will talk to her, kind of going a couple levels deep, like, who do you know? Like, I'll say, hey, who do you have in this city? Like, I need somebody here. And that's just kind of how we start making connections and friendships through each other. And for me, that's not like a fan club. It's like a real relationship that I have some kind of connection to them before I'm recommending them and saying this agent is going to be a great opportunity for you to use as a referral. I actually want to know that agent. And I know who they are.
That's so awesome. So you have a map with all the cities and like a name in each city. I'm like having a visual of that. That's so cool.
There's so many I forget, so I kind of have to keep it documented somehow. Because some cities I'm not really sure. I've never been there before, so I don't really know much about it.
I love the fact that you're purposeful about it. Like, it's like that's a system. Like, that's a lead generation lever that you focus on every week. That's so cool. So you're doing lead generation for these agents outside. How do you talk to your sphere of influence, your database, to say, like, hey, if you're moving anywhere, if you know of somebody else who lives in Dallas, come to me first. How do you work that out with them?
I mean, if you're providing a good level of customer service and you're staying in touch with these people, they're going to call you. I mean, for instance, I just had a listing up here. They were moving. I can't even remember what city they're moving to now, but I connected them with an agent there. But they're calling me, asking me about the properties because they trust me. They know I'm not going to lie to them, and I'm going to be loyal to them. And so for me, I've proved myself to them. I'm staying in touch with them, so they're not going to forget about me. But I don't try to be I don't give them too much marketing material. I want to be very authentic in how I'm touching or nurturing my past clients.
And you do a good job with that. I think your authenticity shows. And you are authentic anyway, but somehow your marketing behind it, of what I see when you're on social media or you're actively, promoting, you really are very authentic. Like how people, they want to work with someone that they like and trust. You're like the epitome of someone that everybody likes and trusts. So, I mean, I've watched Daniel really do well with just getting into so many relationships. I've met people through you. You've met people through me. And I'm all for these agent referrals too, because then you start to do things together. And I have to selfishly plug that next week we're doing something in Arizona where, because of the referrals, we're going to get together and present at the market center. So,
yeah, and I love that too. If I'm ever traveling, which I do travel a lot, I get to maybe visit one of my partners.
Yeah.
And then it's a tax write-off if you go on vacation somewhere.
Yeah.
If you ever come to sunny Cleveland, we'd love to have you.
We'll welcome you here.
Big vacation spot here.
Yeah.
I love everything that you do, because it's so cool. So when I'm just curious, I want to dive deep into this. So you have these agent referrals that you have sort of teed up. Is it something you mention in like your buyer consultation and your listing consultation when they close a house? Like, do you mention it somewhere along the way, or is it's literally just based on that trust factor that they happen to come to you first?
Are you talking about the client or
the client? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I usually, when I'm making the first interaction with the referral, I'm referencing who the agent was that referred me and that they're an associate. That kind of establishes some trust. And a lot of times too, like, we're a massive military town. So most of my clients don't live here. They're either out of the state or even out of the country. I didn't even know I was a certified international property specialist until my team leader told me I was, because I've sold so many homes where the buyer's not even here, but they would need a home ready to go when they get here. So I've been doing these Zoom meetings for well before COVID. So nothing's really changed much for me here in the area. Yeah. And then I'm also, after closing, I'm sending that referring agent a thank you gift. They get some Colorado brownies, and they always laugh about it because they're like, is there weed in these? I'm like, no. Yeah, no.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's my fault. I mistake that. So your clients that you've worked with in Colorado Springs, when they say, hey, I have a friend looking for a house in Dallas, like, are you mentioning to them often that if they ever know of anybody looking elsewhere, that they should come to you first? Do you ever say that, or does it just naturally happen?
Yeah, I mean, my script is, I know a fantastic Keller Williams agent that works out there. Can I connect you this afternoon? And if I don't have one, then I'll go research and find one for them. So. Yeah.
I would say a lot of agents that do a lot of referrals, they're always kind of out there reminding, right? And your email signature a lot of the time, or if you're posting on Facebook, you're saying, my friend in California asked me for a great agent and I just referred it to, and look, they bought the house sold right away.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Because I want to change the subject a little bit. You talked about your old team, not leader, but the owner of the team, being very instrumental in bringing you into real estate. And then you talked a lot about Gary Keller and seeing him at family reunion or mega camp when he was on stage. Who would you say are the mentors that you have in the real estate industry? And, tell us why.
100% Mark Watson. He's, again, was my realtor when I first bought my first home. He helped me get into the business. He was very organized. He followed systems. He followed the MREA book. He made sure I was educated. If I needed help, he was there for me. And he's still here for me today. I just saw him, I think, a month or so ago at an event that I attend every year in North Carolina. Wow. So definitely a huge mentor. He's even gotten to the point where he's reached all of his goals. He's out of real estate. He's got his dream cabin. He's got his dream life. I want to follow his steps. And that's really what I did. Is I was just a sponge. I copied everything he did. And it worked. I'm able to take what we did in Charlotte and bring it out to other states. So, and I might even expand too one day. But yeah, I'm always talking to other agents and picking their brain. Hudson Warren, he's a guy that I've called a few times to ask questions about teams, because he runs a big team. He's very organized and he crushes it. And I want to follow him and do what he does, so my team is running just as efficiently as his is.
I'm equally a fan of Hudson Warren. There's nothing Hudson Warren can't attempt to do and slay.
He'll pull his car over to talk to you.
He's amazing. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any coaches? Have you had coaching during your time in real estate?
I've done MAPS coaching, yeah. And I think it's very important. Actually, the lady that was my coach was in Denver, so not too far away from me. Right now I don't have a coach. I'm coaching myself to my team. So I'm focused on that right now. I'm trying to get to the next level. So yeah.
What's that look like for you? What's next for you? What are your goals? What do you want to do in real estate?
Well, I would like to get more out of, honestly, the sales side of it, and get just more into client relations and coaching and training. So, I kind of got out of the whole teaching thing for a little while, but I'm finally getting back into teaching at night, doing classes like that. And that, for me, that's what makes this job worth it. is getting to help other people, just coming from contribution. And, like I said, client relations, like I would rather just focus on that stuff versus being directly into the sales side of it. So I'm getting to the point where I'm building my team to where they can kind of focus on client, like getting homes sold. I can focus on client relations and coaching.
So you have a team of 7, you said 7 or 8?
No, I only have 5 of us right now.
Okay, only 5. That's still a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So in 2 years, can you share with us a little bit about your team, kind of how the makeup is?
Straight up MREA model. So
Yeah.
I have an incredible administrative person that I just goes above and beyond. She does things like my P&L, marketing, client services. We actually just kind of upgraded her title to director of operations because she's doing so much. Actually, what's kind of a cool thing is I have a transaction coordinator that was on that expansion model I was talking about, that I ran the team here. We both wanted to stay with Keller Williams. So I still work with her. She's based out of Phoenix, Arizona, and she does all of my transactions, and she's the best realtor I know. So, and then I have 2 buyers specialists.
Okay. And you're still in listings, right? You're obviously going out.
I will have some buyers I'm trying to get out of it because I want them to focus on that so I can focus on listings full time.
Love it.
So Daniel, what's one thing that you could tell the people watching? Like what's like the most important thing about what you do, or what would you say is like the biggest thing that you do to make sure that you're having success every day?
Well, for me, every day you have to spend at least a little time doing some form of lead generation, even if it's just texting, calling, or sending Facebook messages to people.
But that's a massive form of lead generation nowadays.
If you but you only have to do it for like an hour to 2 hours a day. And then, I don't work but 30 hours a week. Having a powerful consultation, whether it be listing or buyers, that's just the expectation for an easy deal. So just it's constant training. Don't ever stop training and learning, because there's always something new and better that can be done.
I agree.
Love that.
And then how do you balance your work, personal life? Is that a struggle? I don't know how many hours you put in a week. Do you feel like you work a lot? So tell us about that.
You wouldn't believe how much I have travel benefits. So that means I can fly for free. You wouldn't believe how much I travel.
Wow.
I don't even have to be here to do, unless it's a listing appointment. I typically have people that can show property for me, and I can write contracts remotely. Nice. So I don't have to be here. I can do a lot of my work from my computer and my cell phone. As long as I have a computer and a cell phone, I can do it. I can do this job anywhere.
Isn't that so true? And if you were already doing that, then kudos and bravo to you. But hasn't COVID opened that up for us, knowing that we don't have to physically be here most of the time?
Yeah, and it's really, I love that people are taking more advantage of the technology that we've had available, and it's safe and it's easy. I feel like Zoom's been a huge thing for me that I've been using for a long time anyway. So yeah, I agree.
I love it. So how can someone get a hold of you if they have a client, buyer, or seller who is moving or whatever from Colorado Springs or whatever it is? How can they find you?
Well, definitely shoot me a friend request on Facebook. My name's, again, Daniel Chilton. I'm sure if you just Google my name, you can find my phone number pretty easily, my cell phone number. So even text me, call me. If you have a question about the greater Colorado area, or if you're even thinking about stopping by for a vacation, just call me. I'd be happy to share some information about the area. So
love that.
Yeah.
Is there any last nugget that you'd like to leave the people? Any last message that you'd like to say to people out there?
I'll just be like, don't let this has been my best year I've ever had in real estate. So don't let COVID stop you. It's just a mind limiting belief. Just keep working hard and it'll pay off.
Thank you, Daniel. You're inspiring and motivating, because I just love to see how quickly you've done it. And I think what we take away from today's interview is you take the model, you can put it anywhere as long as you do the same systems and models that you've learned that worked in the previous location, it can happen. And I love the fact that you do a lot of the stuff too remotely. So you have inspired us. I love that you've done the expansion model, and I expect to see great things as you get bigger and expand more. So
thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, I love it. I just followed you on Facebook and Instagram, so we'll become buddies. Even though I know Amanda's probably your referral partner, but that's okay.
Yes, you can send him leads, CJ.
They're welcome. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Thank you so much. Have a great
everyone. All right, you too.
Bye bye.